Hey guys, Big Sheen here, and I've put together a little guide here to help you decide which class to roll for your first Twink in Classic WoW. I have rated each class in 4 variables, but the cost/time investment does not count towards the final score. I just have it there for a visual of how much gold and commitment each Twink takes. To avoid confusion, I've made it so 5 Triarchs is the best and 1 Triarch is the worst. As for cost/time investment, 5 Triarchs means that it is the easiest Twink to get up and running for the lowest amount of gold, and I'd be willing to do one for all of the major Twink brackets if it's requested. So without further ado, let's jump into it. First, we'll be taking a look at the Hunter class. At level 19, Hunter is by far the most common Twink class you'll encounter, due to the sheer overpoweredness of the class at this level and how cheap and easy it is to get one up and running. Most of your gear can be obtained for free from 5-mans, and the enchants themselves are also quite cheap compared to casters or even melee. The Hunter is just absolutely insane in every aspect. Pretty much the best dual class, most useful in BGs because of raw DPS, kiting, CC. They just have everything. They can track the flag. The amount that hunters bring is insane at this level. World PvP, they are by far the best. You can kite mobs, scare beasts, just snipe people from the far, and you always get the jump on someone. You don't have to sneak up on them like a rogue does. You don't have to get in melee range and avoid mobs. And you actually pump out insane DPS compared to casters. One thing about a hunter is that the pet is basically like having a mini warrior by you. You can get the wind serpents from Wailing Caverns right at level 19. Another option is the boar, which every 20 seconds has a charge, which incapacitates a target. So if you're chasing someone, you can recall your pet as it charges up and send it again, just so it doesn't get dead zone, and it'll incapacitate them, allowing you to close the distance to get off a concussive shot. If you're looking to play the most overpowered level 19 Twink with the least amount of effort put into it, Hunter is definitely the best choice. Although one thing I will say is that Hunters offer the least amount of creativity. It's just a typical meta spec and almost every Twink's a Hunter, so it's kinda lame, but at the same time, it's really fun to play. Other class in the S tier, we have Paladin. People may be wondering why the hell is Paladin in S tier? Like, how is Paladin good? Paladins are a meme. But at level 19, Paladins come equipped with Blessing of Might, Blessing of Wisdom, Blessing of Freedom, Hammer of Justice, and huge burst damage potential. Not to mention Bubbles and Lay on Hands. Paladin is definitely one of the most underrated PvP classes, and most people don't even pick them at 19. It's almost impossible to beat a Paladin in a duel unless you're a hunter with God mode kiting skills, but even then, I think a Paladin could I think the matchup in the duels is even. In BGs, their burst damage is insane, they're incredibly hard to kill, and they provide excellent buffs to the group. The only reason I have them at 4 in World PvP is due to the fact that they're melee. You're not going to have as easy of time multi-shotting down targets and engaging from afar, whereas in a Hunter you can pretty much kite 2 to 3 people out while running and just non-stop DPSing them. One more thing to note about Paladins, they're also a bit more expensive. There are more BOEs in general for melee classes than there are for Hunters. Although one great thing about Paladins is the fact that, well, the only time you're ever going to see a Paladin is on Alliance, and Alliance have access to the weapon called Glacial Stone, which is the strongest two-hand for the bracket, even on Warriors, which we'll get to later. Next up we have the Priest class. The Priest class is almost as hard to kill as the Paladin, but they come with different benefits such as shields for teammates, stam buff, renew, dispels, and insane DPS output with Gravestone Scepter and the talent for it. The Gravestone Scepter is what makes casters even viable, and Priest utilizes it the best due to the fact that they have shields for themselves, so they don't have to worry about dying while just sitting there wanting you. Priests at this level are by far the best flag carriers because of how hard they are to take down and the fact they can dispel pretty much every slow in the game on them other than maybe a hamstring, but warriors only have charge out of combat. They don't have intercept, so if you manage to get a dot on them before they get a charge, then you're pretty much guaranteed to be safe. In duels, priests don't have as much area to move around, and they're definitely a really strong class, but classes like maybe a rogue, if they can stick on enough and they have a Will of the Forsaken, or Paladin or Hunter, could probably just beat a Priest in a duel, but Priest is definitely up there in dueling. Like, they're a really strong class to deal with. As for time gold investment, they're at a 2, and that means that they're slightly more expensive than the average Twink. due to the fact that if you want to actual like real min-max, there's a lot of BOE gear you need, and most importantly, the big spell damage or the big healing spells enchant on your weapon, which can cost upwards of 200 gold. It's really expensive, but it's definitely worth it if you want to min-max on your priest and be even more unkillable. As for world PvP, they have the advantage of being ranged, unlike paladins, but they're definitely not as strong as hunters because they have to stand still to do DPS with Greystone Scepter. And they can easily be overwhelmed. One good thing though is if you're rolling undead and you're ganking Red Ridge, is one of the best escape routes is the bottom of the lake, because undead underwater breathing. I've drowned numerous opponents under there with my one priest. Next up, ranked as a B, we have the Rogue. And rogues are known to be, oh, everyone plays a Twink rogue. Rogues are so good, but in reality, I think rogues are probably the most overrated Twink and definitely lower tier than the above three. Mainly due to the fact that stealth is really bad. Like, my negative 30% slow means you're almost never catching anyone. It's really difficult to keep up to people. You don't have a lot of their stun lock capabilities. You kind of just have to open up with a huge burst and try to kill someone, and if you get CC'd or feared, like, they're just gonna get kited forever. You don't have very many tools to get onto a target. In duels, they're definitely strong, but they're not gonna beat a priest, a paladin, a hunter. They're probably not gonna beat a warrior either. Even a warrior is definitely like a weaker Twink, but I think after some testing, like, warrior's pretty strong in duels, and I don't think they're gonna beat a warrior. They definitely will beat a mage, a warlock at this level. They're just kind of middle of the pack. Like, they're good in world PvP to the fact you can stealth and you can just ambush people whenever you please. It's easy to get away. If you get out of combat, you can stealth and track humanoids. It's not gonna detect you from like 60s coming to harass you while you're ganking people. So it's definitely easy. It's definitely a good world PvP class to play aside from Hunter, arguably second best for world PvP. But as for BGs and duels, not as good. And gold investment, it's middle of the pack. Slightly easier due to the fact that a lot of the items are Wailing Caverns or Dead Mines items, but the weapon enchants can cost you a hefty sum of gold. Next up, we have the Druid rated as a B. And in duels, druids are pretty tanky, hard to kill with the hots. Thing is, they run out of mana quite easily. They don't have cheetah form or cat form, so you kind of are forced into playing healer almost, like just being an annoying tanky healer support. Like, you can't really play a druid as a killer in this version or at level 19 bracket. So in duels, like, you can outlast a lot of other opponents just with heals and mana pool, because a lot of the classes don't have heals, so you'll just inevitably win the duel. That's why they're rated as a 3, like in the upper half of the duelers. Definitely not the best, but definitely better than a lot of the other classes. They are pretty damn good in BGs just because of what we know about them. The tanky support healer, Mark of the Wild, Thorns, they just all around nice support class. World PvP, just a typical healer. Like, they have bear form swap to get rid of disable, so it's somewhat slippery, but they don't really have much mobility at this level without cheetah form. So you kind of have to be careful, and you have to rely. Like, you're not gonna go and solo people very often. Like, maybe like you will be able to 1v1 almost anyone, but you're gonna get overwhelmed easily. And like, if you're gonna play a druid, you're gonna want to roll with someone else. It's like a class you play as a support. Time gold. They're kind of expensive due to the need for the healing enchant, and a lot of the caster gear and good leather gear for them, since you're going to be wanting to play healer, is going to be slightly more expensive than, say, if you were playing DPS druid. And I definitely don't think bear druid or melee auto attack druid with a rogue get up is going to be very useful compared to just being an annoying tanky healer. Next up, we have Shaman in B tier, the last B tier, and there's pretty much a jack of all trades. Your healing and tankiness is definitely worse than a druid, because all you have is your healing wave, no hots to keep you up. So, and healing wave is a really slow cast, and it doesn't heal that much, so you get absolutely destroyed by hit stun. So that's why I like building my Shaman with a really fast dagger with fiery enchant and flame tongue weapon on it. And then I like taking the lightning shield talent, because procs and hunters hit you, and it's very easy to kill hunter pets. And actually, like, a shaman is one of the classes that can actually deal with hunter somewhat. If you can get in range for an earthbind, it's definitely gonna make your life easier. And also the shield, the fact that they can equip the shield is a huge armor bonus, which is insanely useful against hunters. I think shamans are actually a very cheap class to twink up. It's like pretty much the same as a hunter. Past the very beginning of a server's launch, fire enchant's very cheap, so you're going to be gearing up nearly the same as a hunter with dead mines and wailing caverns gear. It's going to take you some time to run it, but it's going to be cheap, and even then that's like, it doesn't take very much time at all. So yeah, like your main bet is just being a dueler almost, like a lightning shield, DPSer, and kind of like a tank almost. You're pretty tanky with that shield. Output a lot of DPS. You're going to be really strong against rogues and warriors, and you're going to actually have a pretty good matchup against hunters. You can also purge spam paladins, which is nice, but I still think a paladin's probably going to beat you up. Now in the C tier we have mage, and everyone knows mage is the overpowered PvP class in vanilla WoW, but at level 19 the rank of Frostbolt you have has such shit scaling with spell power that even if you have the 30 spell powered enchant on your weapon, you're going to be dealing like less than a Gravestone Scepter does. Gravestone Scepter is a 1.5 seconds attack speed, and it does around 50 to 80 damage. You can crit for over 100, so every 1.5 seconds you're pumping out that much DPS. And we know Priest is the best utilizer of Gravestone Scepter, so that leaves Mage in a bad spot due to the fact that like all your main spells are outclassed by a wand at this level. So in reality, your entire purpose is literally just Frost Nova and a Sheep bot with Arcane and for Arcane in. Like that's all your purpose is. You can use the Gravestone Scepter, may just have the talent, but then your Frost Nova has a long cooldown, and hunters are gonna roll you, paladins are gonna freedom to you. You have no blink, so you're just gonna get absolutely like 2-hit. Rogues, I mean, rogue could still kill you pretty easily if they play it right, especially with bombs. But Druid has roots, so that's a no-go. Like, you're pretty much going to get absolutely destroyed by everything. Shaman interrupts your things with Earthshock, like, you may beat a warrior because it's a warrior, but even then, like, your damage output is so low, you kind of have to rely on Gravestone Scepter, and you just get outclassed because you have no heals, no ice block, you have, like, just no defensives and no mobility, and low damage. You need 30 spell power enchant, and it's pretty much one of the most expensive enchants in the game, so it's going to be expensive, not to mention cast triggers, all BOE. Almost all of it's like, all the good stuff's BOE and it's expensive. As for world PvP, I mean, you're pretty, you can get like the jump on people and get some nice slows, and they can't really escape you, but you're going to get overwhelmed, just like most casters will. You have Nova, but even then, no blink, just lower damage output. It's just a rough class to play. Pretty much lose dueling to every single other class. BGs are where they're definitely the best, and like you definitely want at least 1 or 2 mages if you're playing BGs. And rated as a C, we have the warrior class. Warriors are actually not bad in dueling in 1v1s. They're gonna lose to Paladin. It's gonna be close, but you can use attack mastery spec and get disarms on them. But at the end of the day, if the Paladin's allowed to use lay on hands and bubble, you're never beating them. Like, you're just gonna get out sustained. They can stun you, run away, like maybe get a couple ticks of a drink off. It's really hard to deal with a Paladin. Gonna get kited forever by a hunter. Like, even if you get the charge, they're gonna wing clip you, put cheat on, and you're just gonna be rage starved and die. Priest, shield fear, like wand renew. You're never gonna kill a priest ever. Like, priests are so hard to kill, and for warriors, when you're rage starved, hitting their shield, getting no rage, you're just done for. You have a good matchup against rogues. It's a good matchup against Druid. Yeah, warriors aren't bad duelers at all. I've tested it out and I was pleasantly surprised how decent they are. As for battlegrounds, I mean, you're a pretty good peel bot because hamstring's pretty nice, so you can spend most of your rage just peeling for your hunter or your priest. Like, that's kind of your job. That's all you're gonna do. World PvP, like, you're a melee. You're just a weak melee class, and if you get in combat from a mob, you're not gonna charge anyone, and you're just gonna die like to 2 people. Definitely one of the weaker classes of this level. and they have no big rage dumps. So you're kind of just relying on autos and hamstring and maybe a fucking overpower if you're lucky. So yeah, warrior is definitely one of the weakest classes at level 19. Although I wouldn't. There's one class weaker, which you probably have noticed by now, but we'll get into that later. As for the time and gold commitment, just a melee class. A lot of your gear is BOE. Some of it's like if you're horde, you have to buy BOE weapons to be decent, and it's going to be pretty expensive to get your warrior twink going. And is it even worth it? Alliance has access to glacial stone, like the paladin uses. And glacial stone's the best weapon for warriors as well. You can definitely get some burst if you get lucky procs with the fire enchant and the glacial stone hammer proc. And finally, in the D tier, we have the Warlock, and you may be saying, what the fuck, Warlock? Why is it down in D tier? But hang on a second. Every single person who's played Warlock on our Twink duel server, every build I've ran has been absolutely abysmal in duels. Like, your dots do such pitiful damage that you'll go before your dots do anything. Then life drain is absolutely awful. Like, fucking, I don't even know. It's just at this level, it's so bad, even when talented. BGs, you're literally just a fear bot. Like, you're gonna multi-dot people, but you're still just useless. You don't have a wand talent, so you're the worst user of the Greystone Scepter. Mage at least has like Nova and Ice Armor, so they can slow and kite while wanding. But what does Warlock have to make their wand easier? What? I guess they can dot. They can dot you up, fear you, and then fear breaks in 2 seconds, and you just die. Like, definitely the weakest dueling class. Then you go into BGs and you're a fear bot, you get destroyed by every other class in the game in duels. And in BGs, like, Mage's sheep is better than your fear. I guess the one good side about it is you can keep damaging people while fearing them, but still, like, you just get outclassed by every other class. For World PvP, I mean, they're not bad for World PvP. You got House Stone and Drain Life, but definitely one of the weaker classes. Time and gold commitment, same case as mage. Like, you're gonna need spell power on your weapon. Like, if it's an AQ patch, you have to have firepower or shadow power. I've tried firepower gear with searing pain spam, and it ends up doing like 75 damage every 1.5 seconds. But it's literally just that makes it like a Greystone Scepter that costs mana and has hit stun. So it's literally just worse than using Greystone Scepter. And so yeah, that puts Warlock at the bottom. Basically, the fact it can't utilize Gravestone Scepter very well. But yeah, that's kind of my mixture of tier list and some general guide on what you should play. So to recap, Hunter, if you want to play the class, it's easy to gear up and OP as hell, then Hunter. If you like being an annoying melee with lots of burst damage and just hard as hell to kill, while also having a lot of utility, like Paladin is the melee equivalent to Hunter at this bracket. Priest, the best class for healing, best caster by far. So I guess we have the Hunter, the melee, and the caster in the top three positions. So at least that's somewhat semblance of a balance. Honestly, like, the best BG comp would just be a bunch of Hunters, Paladins, and Priests. The other classes are fun though. Like, rogues are really fun if you just want to cheese people in world PvP pretty much, or try to like burst someone out in a BG or guard the flag. Like, that's kind of your job. Just literally a cheese class. Druid, tanky support, healer, the best healing pick other than Priest. Like, you can play Priest as a healer without the Scepter, but Graceful Scepter just pumps a ton of DPS. You're better off using it. And Druids are just a nice tanky support class for you to play. So if you like being that support, then Druid's definitely for you. Shaman's kind of a scuffed Paladin at this level. They don't, like, at level 20, Shamans get a lot better. Like, the 29 bracket, Shaman's probably taken Paladin's spot, but I'd have to do some more experimenting before I've come to that conclusion. So then I'd probably level to 29, but it's not bad at 19. I've played one. You can definitely kill people, but Mage, I mean, if you really like Mage, you can play it. If you like slowing, CCing people, that's kind of just all you are. It's kind of a shitty Priest, honestly, and your damage output's not even good. Like, you're not gonna just play Fire Mage and just blow someone up. The most you can do is maybe get like an impact proc if you want to go fire, but that's just relying on RNG. And if you go Frost, you're just a kite bot. So yeah, definitely weaker. Warrior Twink, I'd honestly wait till level 39 to play a warrior. I play Warrior level 30 to 40 because you get intercept. But Warrior's just a bad Paladin at this level. They don't have any rage dump, so you're just an auto attacker. But Paladin has Judgment and they have seals to complement their auto, whereas Warrior has nothing but like Battle Shout. Battle Shout's pretty shit at this level, so really no reason. And Warlock is just a terrible version of Priest. Like your self healers are garbage. Your Healthstone's not that good even when talented. Life Drain's completely useless when talented. You have to spend 5 points to get an instant corruption, and they use the wand bad. When Priest, like you just dot and wand, and you're out DPSing a Warlock, and then you heal yourself, and like there's just no reason to play Warlock. Warlock definitely is a class you want to wait till 29 or 39 to pick. I would never recommend playing a Warlock in the 19 bracket unless you like being the underdog. So yeah, that's it for the tier list. Quick recap. So thanks for watching the video. If you guys liked it, fucking subscribe. Later.